and then find a seat again if you would, and join me in welcoming our moderator, Kim Mathias, for a few updates in the life of Saugatuck Church.
Good morning. My name is Kim Mathias, and I am the moderator for Saugatuck Congregational Church, United Church of Christ. I have been your moderator since March of 2020. A moderator's term is 2 years. It feels like it's been 6. Let's just say it. But I'm delighted that I can be with you here this morning, and I thank you for your patience and for staying a little longer after service today, just to get a few updates. Saugatuck Congregational Church has a vision statement. That vision statement is and declares that we are a community of Christ, welcoming all people, learning to serve and love God and neighbor. So my goal as your moderator for this season is to equip all of us to live our vision statement, really leaning into learning to love and serve God and neighbor at this time. This feels especially important as we live with the COVID-19 pandemic, as we have our increased awareness of racial injustice, as many in our community face economic uncertainty and hardship, and as we are surrounded by this particularly divisive political season. I know I need equipping, and as I speak with members of our congregation, I'm hearing that you want that as well. Friends, the good news is that you are loved and you are not alone on this journey. Together, we can support each other through these challenges. So welcome. I would ask you now to just bow your heads and pray with me. Holy One, open our hearts to where we are called to love and to serve our neighbors and you. So the purpose of a congregational meeting is to bring you up to date. What's been going on since we last met March 2020 in Hoskins Hall? Remember Hoskins Hall? I miss Hoskins Hall. How is Saugatuck responding to the pandemic, to our awareness of racial injustice, and to this economic uncertainty that we are facing? I want, first of all, to lift up to all of you the remarkable God-led leadership that we have in our pastor, Allison Buttrick Patton. She has been steadfast, she has been visionary, she has been caring and responsive. I want you to think back to where you were in January, February, and March of 2020. I know where I wanted to be, and that was under a blanket. I was overwhelmed by what was happening. And I had just been installed as your moderator. I could barely understand how I was to move forward with my family and with my job And I had additional responsibility that I'd been called to for Saugatuck. And there was Allison with those same responsibilities and a vision and a confidence to know that what we needed was a committee. And she was so right. She created the Phasing Forward team, and it's comprised of myself, your vice moderator, Bruce Borner. Doug Johnston represents your Board of Deacons. Bob Mitchell represents the usher team. And we have John Walsh, who represents the trustees as well as the users of our facility, the people most impacted by whatever we would need to do moving forward. This group of very dedicated individuals have been meeting since March on a regular basis, usually weekly. We gather to assess what the COVID-19 information is in our community at the moment. We are then informed by the health experts and science concerning best practices, and we've developed guidelines to be able to respond to the ever-changing nature of this pandemic. The guidelines that have been developed are for the protection of our staff, our congregation, and the users of our building. It's going to be no surprise that for the near term, we're going to continue to physically distance. We're going to wear our masks, and we're going to continue to wash our hands. But we are diligently seeking to maintain our social and our spiritual connections. We are currently in phase 2 of our phasing forward process. There are, I believe, 4 phases. There's the pre-phase. Phase 1 is once you have had to close or start to reopen. No. Allison, I may need your help.
Base phase is when everything is remote.
So base phase, everything is remote. Phase 1, we start a very limited basis to come together. We are now in phase 2, which is allowing us to do these gatherings that we are. And phase 3 would be
A larger group inside.
So phase 3 would be allowing us to move to a larger group inside. So let me tell you where we are right now. What we have learned through this process, meeting outdoors is working. And it works well so that we can take the learnings of what we've gathered over the last few months so that we can continue to connect online. And we have tremendous gratitude for those of us who are helping. Thank you very much for being here today. Because we want to maintain that connectedness. We are starting to have some outside user groups use our facilities again on a very limited basis. Ableist came back to use some of our facility earlier mid-summer. They have very strict guidelines that they're required to follow, and they had a need that we thought we could respond to. Our 12-step programs, some have been meeting on a very limited basis and will continue to do so. Our Saugatuck Nursery School has returned. Again, they have very strict guidelines that they must follow. They too are meeting though, and they're a smaller group than they would ordinarily be. So things are moving forward so long as the virus allows us to do so. So not only have we been talking on the phasing forward about how do we then come back to have meaningful, or how we are able to stay safe, we also want to focus on having meaningful connections, having meaningful opportunities to do those things we feel called to do. And the mission board has had some excellent opportunities for people to engage with the community in a very safe manner. They had a very successful no-touch food drive. There's an ongoing opportunity to provide meals for the Gillespie Center. Please go to our website. They have the sign-ups available and the opportunities listed there. Our young people are meeting in a socially appropriate way, physically distanced. The middle school had an opportunity to meet over at the Bogdan's residence. We were grateful for that opportunity. The high school youth are meeting. Our arts committee is in the process of installing a very meaningful art installation in response to the Black Lives Matter, in response to support the Black Lives Matter movement. So stay tuned for that. So Saugatuck is doing meaningful work. We want you to be aware of that. We want you to connect into it where it feels right for you. One of the most important efforts that's going on right now by our deacons is ensuring that everybody in the congregation knows that they are loved, knows that we are thinking about them. I know that the deacons have been making outreach throughout the last 6 months. If you know anyone who is in need of an extra call, extra note from somebody, please let any member of the Deacons Board, especially Doug Johnston, let Pastor Allison or myself know, and we will ensure that whoever that is, that they know they are not alone and that they are loved. So again, I just have to raise up Pastor Allison. She knew that this would be needed, and she took the steps to convene the group so that we could be ready and could continue to have thoughtful, meaningful conversations as we move forward at this time. But we are being proactive, but we also want to be listening to what the congregation needs. So please feel free to reach out to myself or to Pastor Allison if you have any questions about the work of the Phasing Forward team. That is the longest item on my list. I just wanted to let you know. So the rest is not so long. We have typically, during a congregational meeting, a trustees update. Dana Langham and John Walsh were not able to be with us this afternoon, but your vice moderator, Bruce Borner, Pastor Allison, and myself, we also attend the trustees meetings so we can be aware of our financials with regard to the church. And the report is one that is a positive report. The trustees are not surprised by where our numbers are at the moment. They are where we typically expect to be during the fall. It's not a surprise that as we've had to scale back the use of our facilities, that our maintenance donations have fallen off. So there is approximately $25,000 that is at risk that we may not be able to recoup because we have groups like the Wiseman or the Bridge Group or even our 12-step programs or just special interest. I have learned in working with trustees, they are never overly optimistic. So we couched our language, but we expect that the loan should be forgiven because we have followed the rules as we best understand them. We've also seen some decrease in our expenses because of the more limited use in our facilities. So at this time, the trustees are anticipating that we are going to pretty much fall where we thought the budget was going to fall, even back when we had our meeting in March. Carla, do you have a question? You were just stretching? Okay. other item of note, though, from the trustees' report that is really important to share, and that's our pledging income. I love you all so much. Our pledging income is right on target. It hasn't dropped off at all. I just want to say thank you. There are many things that are competing for our attention and our funds. And again, I understand that this is an economically challenging time for all of us, for some more than others. So your commitment to the ministry of this church and to maintaining your pledge is truly appreciated. And that's my segue to a message that I know Art Schuler of our stewardship committee would like me to make, and that's the quarterly statements for third quarter are coming out. Please be on the lookout for those for your pledge. It'll let you know where you are in terms of your pledge to date. Please review that document. If you have any comments, any changes that need to be made, please let Art know. He wants to hear from you. So this is my first opportunity to extend a congregational welcome to our ministry intern, Jack Mahoney. We've had the opportunity to meet with him several times here at church or through our live stream. I did ask him, I understand that Jack will be with us through his academic year in May 2021. And I asked for a fun fact about Jack Mahoney. So apparently, Jack, in a prior life, was a middle school art teacher. I'm very excited to know this. So anyways, again, if you would just join me in welcoming Jack. We're looking forward to working with him. And hopefully, as he gains from, as he shares with us, he might also be able to take away some learnings from what we offer as well. And as we are welcoming Jack, we are also, we are preparing to say a heartfelt thank you and farewell to our beloved friend and Director of Christian Ministry, Dana Johnson. Yes. In November, Dana and Chuck are moving to California to be closer to their family, in particular their granddaughter Jane. There will be time for us to celebrate and to express our profound gratitude to Dana in these coming weeks. Know that plans are underway to continue that vibrant children's ministry and youth connection that Dana has created over the years. We want to make sure that that does continue. A conversation that we're having in council and that we're having with our boards and committees, again around looking to equip us as we go out into the world. It involves two questions, and I want to invite you to join us in that conversation just for the next few minutes. We've asked the following questions, and I'm inviting you to consider this just where you're sitting right now. The first question: what are you finding energizes you right now? Just take 20 seconds. What are you finding that energizes you right now? The second question: what is it that you believe feels most urgent? What feels most urgent? In council, Allison actually had shared with me a quotation from Frederick Buechner that we shared in council. And I'm going to paraphrase and say that God is calling you where your great joy and human need connect. So I have a third question, and that's the one where I would very much appreciate hearing from everybody. What can we do here at Saugatuck Church to equip you to be energized or to meet that urgent need? That's what it's all about, folks. That's how we're going to serve and love God and neighbor. One way that we will be attempting to meet an expressed need is by hosting the workshop that Allison mentioned at the start of service. Please save the date, October 17th. If you have not written it down, take a moment. October 17th. It'll be virtual via Zoom. It will be so worth your time to join us. Saugatuck, we will work towards being an anti-racist community. This is one step in moving in that direction, and I invite you to join me on that journey. Typically at this point, we would be open for questions. If there's anything that is burning and somebody would like to ask a question, if you rise where you are, I'll repeat the question so that everybody can hear it. I think I see Andrea.
It's not a question, it's a comment.
Would you like to come up then so you can make the comment? Okay.
It's just, one thing that energizes me is finding gratitude. Thank you for recognizing the worries on our minds, and you've relieved some of them with your comments, and I appreciate being informed. I'd also like to thank you for lifting up Allison. In addition, we lift up her family members, your family members, folks like Becky as well as Ian, who have helped us stay connected with the technology, which has been really above and beyond their job and volunteer descriptions. And a second group, our staff, Heather and Dana we see today, but also Sandy and Marcia, who are doing their work very
Thank you, Andrea. As we have the motorcycle team coming through right at the moment. So just to quickly paraphrase, one of the things that Andrea shared energizes her is the expression of gratitude. She was grateful for this meeting, for the information that has been shared so that we can address the questions and the worries that are on people's mind. And just to further extend, if there is another question or concern that has not been addressed, please feel free to let Allison or me know. She also extended that expression of gratitude to Allison, the entire church staff, Heather and Dana, who we get to see on the regular basis on Sunday, but also certainly Marcia and Sandy and the amazing people who keep our facility clean for when we are there. And certainly to the families, Craig and my husband Mark, today Rebecca and Ian, who have kept us connected through the internet and through our live streaming. We do want to see that continue, and it is the work of many that makes that happen. Thank you, Andrea. Are there
More thank yous. Linda Agan is part of our
Yes.
online ministry team as well.
Thank you to Linda Egan, who's part of the online ministry team and who does keep us connected through the newsletter.
And edits the worship video.
And edits the worship video, which is a huge job because I've watched my husband do it, so thank you.
And to Kim and Sue Rendelman, who have been caring for our Memorial Garden and Evergreen Cemetery.
Sue and Kim Rendelman have been caring for our Memorial Garden and our cemetery, and they are looking fantastic. So thank you so much for all of that. Are there any other questions, comments for today's meeting? If not, I'm going to ask if Allison, would you close for us in prayer? Send us on our way.
A general invitation to any of you who enjoys finding us online or on social media. If you feel a call to be part of our online ministry team, we are always expanding and delighted to have you. And deep gratitude to Kim for her time today and her thoughtful sharing. In just about 3 minutes, I will be heading over to our social hour on Zoom, and I will be waving to all of the rest of you as I go. So for now, friends, gathering up all the gifts of this day, I invite you to join me as we say, Holy One. It is an astonishing thing how much our hearts can bear some days, how difficult can be the journey, and also how blessed. How we can be surrounded by so many gifts, so many companions. For those who are here, those that we can see, and those who are unseen, for this wider Saugatuck community, our partners and friends, we give you thanks and praise this day, and ask that you accompany us as we take the joys and the gifts of this place out into our day. Together, in the name of the Holy One we pray, I invite you all to say, Amen. Go in peace. Shalom.